How excited are you to see Gervonta back in action next month against Jesus Cuellar?
Mayweather Promotions is excited, and the boxing fans are very excited. It's overwhelming return. It's been a great response with the ticket sales. His fans are awaiting his return.
Of course, Gervonta is fighting for the WBA super featherweight title at the Barclays Center, the same place where he won his first world title. Of course, from your time with him, you spend a lot of time with Gervonta. What kind of changes or maybe improvements have you seen, as a person or in the ring since he defeated Jose Pedraza to win the IBF title last year?
Well, he has a whole year under his belt, since then, and he's went through quite a bit. I think going through and experiencing things and being able to overcome them, are essential, and just growth as a fighter, but more importantly, as a young man. He's had little adversity, and he's been able to overcome it, and he's really looking forward to what lies ahead, and that's big fights. It starts with winning the WBA world title on the 21st of April.
When you see him in the ring or when you see him training for a fight, sometimes you kind of think to yourself, wow, this kid's, has this incredible set of skills and he's beating all these world-class fighters and he's only 23 years old. Do you kind of think to yourself that and just even get more amazed at what his potential could be with even more experience down the line?
Of course. With the development and the great job that Calvin and his team has done with developing him, and with his God-gifted strength and power, he's just touching the surface. We really expect major things from Gervonta. The world is yet to see the best of Gervonta Davis.
Now, of course, with a win over Cuellar, he now has another world title, his second world title. This time around, do you foresee Gervonta to go and try to unify with some of the other world champions, or is it just a matter of him trying to get more experience as a world champion and just simply start defending that belt and then later down the road unify with the other world title holders?
Well, whatever opportunities out there, we'll make the most of the best opportunity out there was best for Gervonta and his career. But one thing's for sure, I want to be very clear. Whether it's Lomachenko, Burchett, Machado, Corrales, any of those guys, the top guys in that weight class, Gervonta, we have total confidence that he can beat all of those guys. We're going to do it the way we want to do it, and we're willing to fight any of those guys. Like I said, we're going to make the biggest fights out there that are possible for Gervonta. But none of that can happen if you don't take your business on April the 21st, and that's where the focus is. Anything as it relates to anybody other than Cuellar, it don't matter. I just wanted to be clear that Gervonta, we're very confident he can beat all those guys. But it starts with Cuellar and winning this WBA world title. And he's a very, very tough opponent. Hard-nosed, Argentinian, aggressive style. I mean, he's fought some very, very good opposition. We expect him a very tough challenge from Cuellar. But at the end of the night, we expect King to win in dominating, devastating fashion.
Of course, Cuellar is a tremendous fighter, former world champion, but he hasn't fought in well over a year, while Gervonta's fought 3 times against 3 elite boxers. and Cuellar's moving up a weight. Do you feel like those two things give Gervonta a big advantage heading into this fight?
Absolutely not, because one thing you can't replace is experience. Cuellar's been world champion. He's been in big fights. You know what I'm saying? He's very, very confident. A lot of times fighters, they have layoffs for a number of different reasons. But one thing you can't replace is experience, and that's what he brings to the table. Tank might hit him with 2, 3, 4 big shots. He gonna still be coming. You got to fight a smart fight, break these guys down, and definitely off it. If the opportunity presents itself. But we know what Cuellar brings to the table. Nothing about April 21st is going to be easy. Tank's going to solve that problem, or that puzzle, at the end of the day, but it won't be easy. I guarantee you that.
Of course, you talk about experience, and Cuellar has a lot of it, but Tank has had a lot of experience, especially last year, fighting in a big fight on January to win his first world title, then having to go all the way to England for his first world title defense, which is not easy for anybody making a first defense, and then fighting on the biggest pay-per-view of the year and one of the biggest pay-per-views of all time. When you look at Gervonta and passing all those fights with flying colors, do you think he maybe had one of the best years for a young 22-year-old that you could possibly expect in boxing?
Yeah, that's definitely true. There was a lot of great things that happened, and then there were some not so great things that happened. So again, with all of that combined, it was a great year of just learning, experience, what to expect ahead, because it's just only going to get bigger and better. I think he learned. I know for a fact he learned a lot. And he'll be a better world champion. He's excited that the WBA has given him this opportunity, and he's really, really motivated. And again, we expect a great fight.
Going back real quick to his last fight against Francisco Fonseca at the Mayweather-McGregor pay-per-view, Gervonta missed weight, and there were some questions as to maybe this could mean that Gervonta is gonna decide to go to lightweight, then move to another weight class. Was there any discussions after the fight against Fonseca about Gervonta moving up in weight, or was the plan always simply go for another super featherweight world title, and the missed weight was just a one-time thing?
Let's cut to the chase. He didn't make weight. He accepted full responsibility for that as a young fighter, and there were consequences behind that. He accepted that, and he moved on from that. And that's what we want to do. That's in the past about them not making weight. You understand the severity, the consequences, the whole impression that leaves on him being a world champion, and as trying to be a good example for this younger generation. He understands all that comes with that. He's very grateful for the opportunity to come back around, and he's going to make the most of that opportunity. I think that experiencing the downs in last year, again, it will help him become a better world champion, but more importantly, become a better young man.
Now, going back to the fight, you've mentioned Cuellar and how aggressive he is, and, what the experience that he has, which is tremendous as a former world champion at other weights. Do you think that Gervonta and his power is going to be, the deciding factor in making this either a long fight or a quick fight? Because we've seen Gervonta engage in a lot of quick fights, but do you think that with Cuellar it's different, and do you think that this has a very good chance of going the distance or going at least into the championship rounds?
Well, I can't determine that. I know it's going to be a great fight, and I know what Cuellar is bringing to the table, and I know what Tank is bringing to the table. So I expect a great fight. I expect the fight to end in a knockout. That's what I do expect. And I know that both guys are going to be ready, and I think the fans are in for a very, very exciting fight. So I'm confident that it's going to end in a knockout.
Now, obviously, Gervonta is fighting on Showtime. You know, Showtime and Mayweather Promotions had a tremendous partnership, and it certainly helped Gervonta expand his popularity and his name brand throughout the sport. That's, you know, this up-and-coming superstar. You know, just how much has, you know, how instrumental has Showtime been with you guys and with helping develop Davis, not as a fighter, but more as a superstar within the sport, just like Floyd.
Well, you can't say enough of the gratitude that we have for Showtime, CES, Stephen Espinosa, and the support that they've given Floyd throughout his career in Mayweather Promotions, and obviously with Gervonta Davis, with Badu Jack, Andrew Tabiti, Ishe Smith, Mickey Bay. You know, there have been a number of very, very good fights that we've had with the network, and they have Stephen, what he's brought to the table is incredible vision, and you see they're definitely industry leaders, and with the incredible job that Stephen has done with Showtime since he's been at the helm, it's just been remarkable. And we really, really appreciate the opportunities that are there to fight on a great network. As it relates to Gervonta, again, they have great vision. They see the same things that Floyd sees. They see the same thing that I see. You know, when Floyd initially signed Gervonta, you know, he knew what he was signing. You know, that's all he talked about, was this young kid being the next superstar in the sport. And he's definitely well on his way. I've been very vocal about this, and I'll say it over and over and over again. Gervonta Davis, in a couple years, will be the biggest star in the sport, hands down. Gervonta Davis will be the biggest star in the sport in a few years. He's that exciting of a fighter. If he listens, which I'm very, very confident that he's going to do, on what the plan and the direction is, and continue to stay humble and continue to surround himself with a tight team, Gervonta Davis is going to be the biggest star in the sport.
Any final words on this fight or any of the other fights taking place on this April 21 Showtime card at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, which the main event is Adrian Broner versus Jesse Vargas, Jermall Charlo versus Hugo Centeno Jr. for the interim WBC middleweight title, and of course the opening bout, Gervonta Davis versus Jesus Cuellar for the WBA super featherweight title.
Well, you have three main events, essentially, that are televised. Those could be main events on any network, any show. And we all have it all on one card. That is a great night of boxing. How can you miss that? That's must-see TV.